Welcome to Fluency Game, your daily English practice. In this video, you'll train your listening and speaking skills with 500 real travel sentences, all about past and future experiences. Repeat after the narrator, practice your pronunciation, and feel your English flow more naturally every day. If you enjoy this lesson, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more English fluency practice every week. A day in Barcelona. Past. Let's talk about a day in Barcelona in the past. I arrived in Barcelona early in the morning. I walked through the narrow streets of the Gothic Quarter. I visited the Sagrada Familia and took many photos. I ate seafood at a small restaurant near the beach. I met new friends while exploring the old town. I listened to street musicians playing guitar. I bought souvenirs for my family. I watched the sunset from the harbor. I took the metro back to my hotel. I wrote about my day before going to sleep. A day in Barcelona. Future. Now let's imagine the same day in the future. I'll arrive in Barcelona early in the morning. I'm going to walk through the narrow streets of the Gothic Quarter. I'll visit the Sagrada Familia and take photos again. I'm going to eat seafood near the beach. I'll meet new people and make friends. I'll listen to street musicians while drinking coffee. I'm going to buy souvenirs for my family. I'll watch the sunset from the harbor. I'll take the metro back to my hotel. I'll write about my day before going to sleep. Weekend in New York. Past. Let's remember a weekend in New York in the past. I flew to New York on Friday night. I stayed at a hotel near Central Park. I walked through Times Square full of lights. I visited the Statue of Liberty by ferry. I tried pizza from a famous local place. I met a friend for coffee in Brooklyn. I watched a Broadway show on Saturday evening. I took pictures from the top of the Empire State Building. I walked along Fifth Avenue to buy souvenirs. I left New York on Sunday morning feeling inspired. Weekend in New York, future. Now, let's talk about a weekend in New York in the future. I'll fly to New York on Friday night. I'm going to stay at a hotel near Central Park. I'll walk through Times Square full of lights. I'll visit the Statue of Liberty by ferry. I'll try pizza from a famous local place. I'll meet a friend for coffee in Brooklyn. I'm going to watch a Broadway show on Saturday evening. I'll take pictures from the top of the Empire State Building. I'll walk along Fifth Avenue to buy souvenirs. I'll leave New York on Sunday morning feeling inspired. Exploring Rome, past. Let's talk about a trip to Rome we had in the past. I arrived in Rome on a warm summer morning. I visited the Colosseum and imagined ancient battles. I threw a coin into the Trevi Fountain for good luck. I walked through the old streets filled with history. I had pasta for lunch in a small family restaurant. I took photos near the Pantheon. I watched the sunset from the Spanish Steps. I bought gelato and enjoyed the evening air. I met friendly locals and learned some Italian words. I ended the day walking back to my hotel slowly. Exploring Rome, future. Now, let's imagine visiting Rome again, but in the future. I'll arrive in Rome on a warm summer morning. I'm going to visit the Colosseum and take new pictures. I'll throw a coin into the Trevi Fountain for good luck. I'll walk through the old streets filled with history. I'll have pasta for lunch in a small restaurant. I'll take photos near the Pantheon again. I'll watch the sunset from the Spanish Steps. I'll buy gelato and enjoy the evening air. I'm going to meet locals and practice my Italian. I'll end the day walking back to my hotel peacefully. A day in San Francisco, past. Next, let's remember a trip to San Francisco in the past. I visited San Francisco last spring. I crossed the Golden Gate Bridge on foot. I took pictures of the skyline from the pier. I ate fresh seafood at Fisherman's Wharf. I rode a cable car through the city hills. I explored Chinatown and bought souvenirs. I walked along the beach near the Pacific Ocean. I saw sea lions resting on the docks. I enjoyed the cool breeze of the evening. I returned to my hotel and packed my things. A day in San Francisco, future. Now let's think about visiting San Francisco again in the future. I'll visit San Francisco next spring. I'll cross the Golden Gate Bridge on foot again. I'll take pictures of the skyline from the pier. I'll eat seafood at Fisherman's Wharf. I'll ride a cable car through the city hills. I'll explore Chinatown and buy new souvenirs. I'll walk along the beach near the Pacific Ocean. I'll see sea lions resting on the docks. I'll enjoy the cool breeze of the evening. I'll return to my hotel and relax before flying home. Paris at night. Past. Finally, let's talk about one night in Paris in the past. I walked along the Seine River after dinner. I watched the Eiffel Tower sparkle with lights. I took photos of the bridges across the river. I listened to a musician playing violin nearby. I had dessert at a cafe with outdoor tables. I met other travelers and shared stories. I felt calm while walking through quiet streets. I stopped to look at the lights of the city. I returned to my hotel late at night. I slept peacefully after a beautiful evening. Paris at night, future. And now, let's imagine the same night in Paris, but in the future. I'll walk along the Seine River after dinner. I'll watch the Eiffel Tower sparkle with lights. I'll take photos of the bridges across the river. I'll listen to a musician playing violin nearby. I'll have dessert at a cafe with outdoor tables. I'll meet other travelers and share stories. I'll feel calm while walking through quiet streets. I'll stop to look at the lights of the city. I'll return to my hotel late at night. I'll sleep peacefully after a beautiful evening. A weekend in Los Angeles. Past. Let's talk about a weekend I spent in Los Angeles in the past. I flew to Los Angeles on a sunny Friday morning. I stayed at a hotel close to the beach. I walked along the Santa Monica Pier and watched the ocean. I visited Hollywood and took photos of the Walk of Fame. I saw the Hollywood sign from the hills. I met friends for dinner near Sunset Boulevard. I watched the sunset from Venice Beach. I drove along Pacific Coast Highway late at night. I listened to music and enjoyed the view. I went to bed tired but happy after a long day. A weekend in Los Angeles, future. Now, let's imagine spending another weekend in Los Angeles, but in the future. I'll fly to Los Angeles on a sunny Friday morning. I'm going to stay at a hotel close to the beach. I'll walk along the Santa Monica Pier and watch the ocean. I'll visit Hollywood and take photos of the Walk of Fame. I'll see the Hollywood sign from the hills. I'll meet friends for dinner near Sunset Boulevard. I'll watch the sunset from Venice Beach. I'll drive along Pacific Coast Highway late at night. I'll listen to music and enjoy the view. I'll go to bed tired but happy after a long day. Discovering Madrid. Past. Next, let's remember a trip to Madrid that happened in the past. I arrived in Madrid on a warm afternoon. I visited the royal palace and took many photos. I walked through Plaza Mayor and watched the street performers. I ate tapas and drank sangria in a local bar. I visited the Prado Museum and saw beautiful paintings. I listened to Spanish music in a small square. I met friendly locals who helped me find my way. I bought a handmade souvenir from a market. I watched the sunset near the Temple of Debode. I ended the day sitting at a cafe, feeling relaxed. Discovering Madrid. Future. Now, let's imagine visiting Madrid again in the future. I'll arrive in Madrid on a warm afternoon. I'll visit the Royal Palace and take new photos. I'll walk through Plaza Mayor and watch the performers. I'll eat tapas and drink sangria in a local bar. I'll visit the Prado Museum to see new exhibitions. I'll listen to Spanish music in the city square. I'm going to meet locals and practice my Spanish. I'll buy souvenirs from the local market. I'll watch the sunset near the Temple of Debode. I'll finish the day relaxing at a cafe. Visiting Boston. Past. Let's talk about my visit to Boston that happened a few years ago. I took a train from New York to Boston. I walked along the Freedom Trail and learned about history. I visited Harvard University and took pictures. I ate clam chowder at a small restaurant near the harbor. I saw beautiful old buildings and brick streets. I met students who shared stories about college life. I listened to street musicians playing jazz. I watched the boats move across the Charles River. I enjoyed the calm and clean atmosphere of the city. I returned to my hotel and planned the next day. Visiting Boston. Future. Now let's imagine returning to Boston in the future. I'll take a train from New York to Boston. I'll walk along the Freedom Trail again. I'll visit Harvard University and take more pictures. I'll eat clam chowder at the same restaurant near the harbor. I'll see the old buildings and enjoy the views. I'll meet students and talk about their studies. I'll listen to street musicians playing jazz. I'll watch the boats move across the Charles River. I'll enjoy the peaceful atmosphere of the city. I'll return to my hotel and rest for the night. Exploring Berlin, past. Let's remember an amazing trip to Berlin in the past. I arrived in Berlin on a cold morning. I visited the Brandenburg Gate and took photos. I saw pieces of the Berlin Wall and read the history. I walked through the streets near Alexanderplatz. I visited museums on Museum Island. I ate traditional German food at a local restaurant. I met travelers from different parts of Europe. I watched a concert in the evening. I took the metro back to my hotel. I fell asleep thinking about everything I had seen. Exploring Berlin, future. Now let's imagine exploring Berlin again in the future. I'll arrive in Berlin on a cold morning. I'll visit the Brandenburg Gate and take photos. I'll see the remains of the Berlin Wall again. I'll walk through Alexanderplatz and enjoy the view. I'll visit the museums I missed last time. I'll eat traditional German food at a local restaurant. I'll meet travelers from around the world. I'll watch a concert in the evening. I'll take the metro back to my hotel. I'll fall asleep thinking about everything I've seen. A trip to Miami, past. Finally, let's talk about a trip I took to Miami in the past. I arrived in Miami on a bright summer day. I walked along Ocean Drive and saw colorful buildings. I swam in the warm blue ocean. I ate seafood and tropical fruit for lunch. I listened to Latin music near the beach. I met friendly people from different countries. I took photos of the palm trees and sunset. I bought souvenirs from small beach shops. I danced at a party by the ocean. I went back to the hotel at midnight, full of energy. A trip to Miami, future. Now let's imagine traveling to Miami again in the future. I'll arrive in Miami on a bright summer day. I'll walk along Ocean Drive and see the colorful buildings. I'll swim in the warm ocean again. I'll eat seafood and tropical fruit for lunch. I'll listen to Latin music near the beach. I'll meet friendly people from different countries. I'll take photos of the palm trees and sunset. I'll buy souvenirs from small beach shops. I'll dance at a party by the ocean. I'll go back to my hotel at midnight, full of energy. At the airport, past. Let's talk about a travel experience at the airport in the past. I arrived at the airport 2 hours before my flight. I checked in my suitcase and printed my boarding pass. I went through security and waited at the gate. I bought a coffee and a small snack. I called my family to say goodbye. I watched planes take off one after another. I listened to announcements about delays. I boarded the plane when my group was called. I found my seat and placed my bag above me. I felt excited as the plane started moving. At the airport. Future. Now let's imagine going to the airport again in the future. I'll arrive at the airport 2 hours before my flight. I'll check in my suitcase and get my boarding pass. I'll go through security and wait at the gate. I'll buy the coffee and maybe a small snack. I'll call my family before boarding. I'll watch planes take off while waiting. I'll listen carefully to announcements. I'll board the plane when my group is called. I'll find my seat and store my bag above me. I'll feel excited when the plane starts moving. On the train, past. Let's remember a train trip we took in the past. I boarded the train early in the morning. I found my seat and placed my bag beside me. I looked through the window as the train started moving. I listened to music while watching the countryside. I bought a sandwich from the cafe car. I met a friendly passenger and talked for a while. I read a book during the long journey. I took photos of small towns we passed by. I arrived at the final station before sunset. I felt relaxed and ready to explore the new city. On the train, future. Now, let's imagine taking another train trip in the future. I'll board the train early in the morning. I'll find my seat and place my bag beside me. I'll look through the window as the train starts moving. I'll listen to music while watching the countryside. I'll buy a sandwich from the cafe car. I'll meet new passengers and talk for a while. I'll read a book during the journey. I'll take photos of towns we pass by. I'll arrive at the final station before sunset. I'll feel relaxed and ready to explore the new city. At the hotel, past. Let's talk about checking in to a hotel during a trip in the past. I arrived at the hotel after a long flight. I checked in at the front desk and got my room key. I took the elevator to the 5th floor. I opened the window and looked at the city view. I unpacked my suitcase and hung my clothes. I ordered room service for dinner. I watched TV while eating and resting. I took a shower before going to bed. I set an alarm for the next morning. I slept deeply after a long day of travel. At the hotel, future. Now, let's imagine arriving at a new hotel in the future. I'll arrive at the hotel after a long flight. I'll check in at the front desk and get my room key. I'll take the elevator to my floor. I'll open the window and look at the city view. I'll unpack my suitcase and organize my things. I'll order room service for dinner. I'll watch TV while relaxing in bed. I'll take a shower before sleeping. I'll set an alarm for the next morning. I'll sleep peacefully after a long day. At a restaurant. Past. Let's remember a nice meal at a restaurant during a trip in the past. I entered the restaurant and waited for a table. I looked at the menu and chose pasta. I ordered water and a glass of wine. I listened to soft music playing in the background. I watched people talking and laughing. I enjoyed the smell of food around me. I ate slowly, enjoying every bite. I took a picture of my meal for memories. I thanked the waiter for the great service. I paid the bill and left feeling satisfied. At a restaurant. Future. Now, let's imagine going out for dinner in the future. I'll enter the restaurant and wait for a table. I'll look at the menu and choose something delicious. I'll order water and maybe a glass of wine. I'll listen to soft music in the background. I'll watch people enjoying their meals. I'll enjoy the smell of food in the air. I'll eat slowly and enjoy every moment. I'll take a picture of my meal to remember it. I'll thank the waiter for the kind service. I'll pay the bill and leave feeling satisfied. Outdoor adventure. Past. Finally, let's talk about an outdoor adventure in the past. I went hiking in the mountains last summer. I woke up early and packed some snacks. I followed a small trail through the forest. I stopped to take photos of the scenery. I met other hikers along the way. I reached the top and looked at the valley below. I rested and drank water while enjoying the view. I ate my lunch sitting on a rock. I walked back down slowly in the afternoon. I returned home tired but proud of the day. Outdoor adventure. Future. Now, let's imagine going on another outdoor adventure in the future. I'll go hiking in the mountains next summer. I'll wake up early and pack some snacks. I'll follow a trail through the forest. I'll stop to take photos of the view. I'll meet other hikers along the way. I'll reach the top and look at the valley below. I'll rest and drink water while enjoying the view. I'll eat my lunch sitting on a rock. I'll walk back down in the afternoon. I'll return home tired but happy. Visiting family abroad, past. Let's talk about visiting family abroad in the past. I traveled to another country to visit my relatives. I hadn't seen them for many years. I brought small gifts from home. I hugged everyone as soon as I arrived. We shared stories about our lives. I helped my grandmother cook a big dinner. We laughed while looking at old photos. I visited the places where my parents grew up. I took many pictures with my cousins. I felt happy and grateful before leaving. Visiting family abroad again in the future. I'll travel to another country to visit my relatives. I'll bring small gifts from home. I'll hug everyone when I arrive. I'll share stories about my life. I'll help my grandmother cook a big dinner. I'll laugh while looking at old photos. I'll visit the places where my parents grew up. I'll take many pictures with my cousins. I'll spend time with them before leaving. I'll feel happy and grateful again. Traveling for work, past. Let's remember a time when I traveled for work in the past. I flew to another city for an important meeting. I stayed at a hotel near the company office. I prepared my notes before the presentation. I met new colleagues and exchanged ideas. I presented my project to the management team. I answered questions and received good feedback. I went out for dinner with coworkers. I visited local shops after work. I returned to the hotel late at night. I felt proud and tired after a productive day. Traveling for work, future. Now let's imagine traveling for work again in the future. I'll fly to another city for a business meeting. I'll stay at a hotel close to the office. I'll prepare my presentation before the trip. I'll meet new colleagues and share ideas. I'll present my project to the management team. I'll answer questions and receive feedback. I'll go out for dinner with my coworkers. I'll visit local shops after work. I'll return to the hotel late at night. I'll feel proud after another successful day. Making new friends, past. Let's talk about making new friends during a trip in the past. I met new people while traveling alone. We started talking at a cafe near the station. We shared stories about our countries. We decided to explore the city together. We took photos and laughed all day. We ate dinner at a small restaurant. We exchanged phone numbers before leaving. We promised to stay in touch. I said goodbye at the train station. I felt thankful for meeting such nice people. Making new friends, future. Now, let's imagine meeting new friends while traveling in the future. I'll meet new people while traveling alone. I'll start a conversation at a cafe near the station. I'll share stories about my country. I'll explore the city with new friends. I'll take photos and laugh all day. I'll have dinner at a local restaurant. I'll exchange phone numbers with them. I'll promise to stay in touch. I'll say goodbye at the train station. I'll feel thankful for meeting great people. Getting lost in a new city, past. Let's talk about getting lost in a new city in the past. I arrived in a big city I didn't know well. I tried to find my hotel but took the wrong street. I walked for a long time without a map. I asked a local for directions. They showed me which way to go. I realized I had passed the same shop twice. I finally saw my hotel in the distance. I laughed at myself for getting lost. I bought a map the next morning. I learned to always check the street signs. Getting lost in a new city, future. Now, let's imagine visiting a new city again in the future. I'll arrive in a big city I've never seen before. I'll try to find my hotel carefully. I'll use my phone to follow the map. I'll ask someone if I feel unsure. I'll stay calm even if I get lost. I'll enjoy walking through unknown streets. I'll find my hotel eventually. I'll laugh about the experience. I'll remember to plan my route next time. I'll learn to enjoy surprises when traveling. Returning home, past. Finally, let's remember what it felt like to return home after a trip. I packed my suitcase and checked out of the hotel. I went to the airport and waited for my flight. I thought about all the places I had seen. I felt sad but also happy to go home. I slept during most of the flight. I arrived home late at night. My family welcomed me with hugs. I told them stories about my journey. I unpacked and placed my souvenirs on the shelf. I felt grateful for the memories I had made. Returning home, future. Now, let's imagine coming back home from another trip in the future. I'll pack my suitcase and check out of the hotel. I'll go to the airport and wait for my flight. I'll think about all the places I've seen. I'll feel both happy and tired. I'll sleep during the flight. I'll arrive home late at night. My family will welcome me with hugs. I'll tell them stories about my journey. I'll unpack and organize my souvenirs. I'll feel grateful for all the experiences I had. Moving abroad. Past. Let's talk about the time I moved abroad in the past. I packed all my things and said goodbye to my friends. I felt nervous but also excited about a new beginning. I flew to another country with 2 suitcases. I found a small apartment to rent. I struggled to understand the local language. I met new neighbors who helped me adapt. I explored the city and discovered new habits. I missed my family during the first months. I slowly built a new routine and felt more confident. I realized that moving abroad had changed my life. Moving abroad. Future. Now let's imagine moving abroad again in the future. I'll pack my things and say goodbye to my friends. I'll feel nervous but excited about a new start. I'll fly to another country with hope in my heart. I'll find an apartment in a quiet neighborhood. I'll meet new people and learn from them. I'll explore the streets and try local food. I'll learn the language step by step. I'll stay in touch with my family online. I'll build a new routine and feel at home. I'll realize once again how travel can change a life. Learning a new language while traveling. Past. Let's talk about learning a new language while traveling in the past. I visited a country where no one spoke my language. I learned simple words to communicate. I practiced phrases every morning. I listened carefully to people in cafes and stores. I made mistakes, but locals were patient. I started understanding conversations around me. I used my notebook to write new words. I watched local TV shows to learn pronunciation. I felt proud every time I spoke correctly. I realized that learning through travel was powerful. Learning a new language while traveling. Future. Now, let's imagine learning a new language during another trip. I'll visit a country where I don't speak the language. I'll learn simple phrases to communicate. I'll practice new words every morning. I'll listen to locals carefully in cafes and stores. I'll make mistakes but keep trying. I'll start understanding conversations faster. I'll write new words in a small notebook. I'll watch local shows to improve pronunciation. I'll feel proud when people understand me. I'll prove that travel is the best way to learn. Traveling alone. Past. Let's remember a time when I traveled alone in the past. I decided to take a solo trip for the first time. I planned everything by myself. I felt nervous at the airport but confident inside. I explored cities without a fixed schedule. I ate alone at restaurants and enjoyed the silence. I met other travelers who were also alone. I learned how to be independent. I took photos to remember every moment. I wrote my thoughts in a travel journal. I came back stronger and more peaceful. Traveling alone. Future. Now, let's imagine taking another solo trip in the future. I'll decide to travel alone to a new destination. I'll plan everything by myself again. I'll feel calm and ready for new experiences. I'll walk through cities at my own rhythm. I'll try new food without hesitation. I'll meet travelers with interesting stories. I'll learn more about myself each day. I'll take photos to capture every memory. I'll write about my journey at night. I'll return home feeling renewed and proud. Visiting a dream destination. Past. Let's talk about visiting a dream destination in the past. I had always dreamed of visiting Japan. I finally booked my flight and made it happen. I walked through ancient temples in Kyoto. I saw cherry blossoms for the first time. I tried sushi made by a master chef. I learned to say simple words in Japanese. I took a train across the countryside. I visited museums and learned about culture. I watched the city lights of Tokyo at night. I left Japan with a heart full of gratitude. Visiting a dream destination. Future. Now, let's imagine visiting another dream destination in the future. I'll visit a place I've always wanted to see. I'll plan the trip carefully months in advance. I'll walk through famous landmarks. I'll meet locals and learn about their culture. I'll taste food I've never tried before. I'll explore the city from morning until night. I'll take photos to remember every detail. I'll feel amazed by the beauty around me. I'll promise myself to travel more often. I'll come back inspired to chase new dreams. Changing life through travel. Past. Finally, let's remember how travel once changed my life. I was tired of my routine and needed something new. I bought a ticket without thinking twice. Changing life through travel. Future. Now let's imagine how travel will continue to change my life in the future. I'll take another trip when I feel stuck. I'll meet people who inspire me to grow. I'll visit places that open my mind. I'll learn to enjoy simplicity again. I'll face new challenges with courage. I'll discover new passions on the way. I'll realize that life is full of possibilities. I'll return home with a renewed heart. I'll plan more trips to keep learning. I'll let travel continue to shape who I become. You've just completed the Fluency Game 500 Sentences for a Productive Life. Keep practicing these sentences every day to improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence when speaking English. Remember, repetition is the key to fluency. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can keep learning with new lessons every week.